Welcome to the As If That Happened podcast, where we have a chat about our favorite TV shows, movies, and all things entertainment. For today's episode, we are talking about an anime called Love is Hard for an Otaku.
Woohoo!
So you recommended this show for us to watch. I went into this blind, and what it's about is basically two couples navigating a relationship. So for me, this was actually fun to get into, having zero clue what it was going to be about. It was actually a refreshing difference. For me, the biggest thing was that I thought it was going to be about high school again, which is what a lot of, the things that we watch in this kind of genre end up being. But this was
okay, not this time
no,
though.
it was refreshingly relatable that like there were young adults in in a work life. It's sort of similar to where we are in life right now. You've seen this before, but what's your overall thoughts about it?
Okay, so first of all, I remembered watching like the first few seconds of it and thinking that I'm like, okay, you know what, it's fine. I'll watch it another time because I remember falling asleep in it because I was just really tired. But then my sister really recommended me to actually watching it. So I actually sat my ass down and watched it. And boy, I actually enjoyed it. It's very relatable to who I am as a character.
Yes, I thought of
And
you the
like
whole
my own,
time.
oh my god. Like I kid you not. I remembered my sister saying, look at all of the four of them. There's at least one bit of you inside each of these people. I'm like, no, don't say that. So when I watched the film, I'm like, she's correct. Holy cows, like far out. I cannot show this to anyone. I cannot share this to anyone because this is just an absolute like true story. Just inside them is better light. The one thing that I do love the anime for was its opening. It's the most catchiest thing. And it's like almost to a point where I do remember like the full movements and all that. And I do know that it is a famous TikTok viral thing going on. So I know that my sister did say that we should try doing it, but I'm like, no, we're not gonna do that.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was refreshingly, I don't know, I just really enjoyed it, and it took me off guard because I remember when you recommended it, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. And I was sitting there smiling the whole time because it was just so awkwardly relatable. Like if I had to pick somebody that I related to the most, it would probably be Hirotaka, right? Because stoic, doesn't understand the social cues for anything, awkward. I don't know. I just really enjoyed it, surprisingly. And I know that you probably thought this was one that I would not have liked as much, but I really did enjoy it. I don't know. It was just so lighthearted. And okay, so the main thing for me as well is sometimes I'm so over relationship dramas. But this was a show that, so I actually thought that it would be, oh no, so much jealousy going on. They're going to switch partners, the usual tropes of these kinds of things. Or it's like they can never keep a single relationship together, something like that. But they didn't. They got two people together in the beginning. And I mean, it was awkward, and it was them learning to communicate with each other and share each other's passions and awkwardness, get over all that awkwardness. And then it's another couple who's already established, and them kind of like almost being an example for them of how two people who are very different can still be together. And they even like learn from them of how to not fight so much, I guess. So I just found their relationships, I was just smiling the whole time. So
Oh, that's so good.
I
Oh,
know I do. I'm like, a part of me doesn't want to admit it because I'm like, oh,
yes,
but
yes.
I did really like it. I don't know why, and I'm like almost embarrassed to admit it.
No, that is so good. Oh my god, I can't believe it. I lived this moment to hear those words.
You know what
Yes.
it was that actually, like, because in the first episode I was like, okay, like I had thoughts of what it was going to be. It's like, oh, this is what's going to happen, it's going to be predictable. But in that first episode, right at the end, when he sort of asks her to be his girlfriend but doesn't, it was kind of like a really romantic way of asking her, though, of like, and I thought, wow, that's actually kind of different. And then in the next episode, she's like, wait, you never actually told me you like me. It's like, oh yeah, I just rambled on about something else. But yeah, that was the moment for me where I was like, wait, this is a little bit different.
Oh, 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 shy, my heart. But like in all honesty, it is like, what is it? It would have to be again. It was very refreshing. It was very different from from the animes that I also watched, and to also stick with the same concept that you also said, I would say my best kind of closest character, despite the fact is that each one of them has a split of me. I would say I would be in the more genre of um of Narumi, just because she reads the mangas. I remember back in high school reading mangas, and I'm still reading mangas up until now. Like every now and then, just not often. I would draw as well, and she isn't much of a gamer, but she does game. So that's the only factor that I would say I'm different with her, but I still play games, and she has that little game part of her. So if she was a full-time gamer, then she would be legit the character for me. But it's just that one little factor. And like you mentioned, it is so relatable to like today's society because of like how different everyone perceives or like dating or like how to convey like how you love someone or like try to ask them out, like what you said as well, like when um Hirotaka um asked Narumi to be his girlfriend, it kind of made a lot of flashbacks to the relationships that were trying to ask me, but I didn't completely understand it until later on. I'm like, oh, all right, I got you now, sir, because you actually said it in like black and white,
Yeah,
complete and
I know.
everything.
I
So,
think that's what I found. Like, I just found kind of nice here is that usually we have these shows where, especially in animes, where they're just so flowery and they know the right words to say, and
oh
it's
my
so
god, yeah,
romantic with the
and it's so
music,
cheesy.
and it's so cheesy. But when he had his speech, which was still kind of cheesy, but he was still kind of awkward, and I was like, is that romantic? It's kind of romantic. It is oddly romantic. And I was like, this is a little bit different, isn't it? And it's a little more relatable to me, I guess,
Yeah,
how they went
it's
about it.
so relatable. But the best one that I have to admit, well, not really the best one. I would say like the relationship that you'll just continuously worry, but you'll just laugh at them is their bosses, which is Kabura and also Hana. Now, I love their relationship just because compared to Narumi and also Hirotaka, they're childhood friends. These guys, they're rivals since high school, which is another dimension of their relationship, and they have very different worlds, and the little jealousy for like the newbies and their
Yeah.
relationship. It was just kind of like, wow, was that real? Is that what like rivalry is and stuff?
But that's why I also like that contrast of like this new relationship that's still forming and they don't even know what's right. And then this other relationship where you think, how in the world are they working? But the show doesn't try to break them up. The show isn't like, oh, look how much they're fighting, they're going to break up soon. You're never worried they're going to break up. Well, not usually, like it's just, that's how they are. And I like, you can laugh without thinking, oh my God, the show is going to try to make him more jealous and him end up, because in the beginning, right, like before Narumi finds out that they're together and she's like, oh, Hirotaka is not my type, Kabakura is. That like, again, that was a moment where I thought, oh no, they're gonna go that route where they're gonna keep switching partners and stuff. But then afterwards you realize, no, it's all just in fun that they have that. But I found that scene so funny for some reason. And
No,
Hirotaka
that was
overhears, it's like, I'm not your type.
no, that was also like me when they went over. I think it was that one scene when they all went over to Hirotako's house, and then they're all like, can we go to your room and check what's in your room and stuff and blah blah blah. And he's like, yeah, go for it. And they all like go inside, and then that's when Narumi got to actually see what he values the most, like appearance wise, on a female, around its chest. I just find that so hilarious because then she straight away looked down to her. She's like, I'm nowhere near close to this, like at all. And it was exactly that same, like that same scene and like that same comparison that both women and the men have, because Kabakura himself likes flat-chested. So it's complete opposite. And it's just like, how does this work? Is this like some reality kind of check or whatever it is? Because we all know that the true state, like saying, is that love comes in like a whole different format, but it's always the opposite that you are always attracted to without you even realizing. So I think like this show just really just nails that concept to a T, because mind you, love is actually quite hard, not just for an otaku, but for everyone else. But it is 10 times difficult as an otaku because you're so focused on your own little world and like your own little hobbies. And then you sometimes forget that you're actually in a relationship.
I mean, I have no experience in that.
Oh,
you can
come.
speak to that. But I mean, speaking of like her insecurities in the relationship, he's very subtle about it, but Hirotaka also has his own insecurities that I think she comes to kind of understand as the show goes on. Because at first she was very like, I'm never going to date you. You're not my type, blah, blah, blah. And he starts to feel like, does she even actually like me? And then you find out about her like hiding that she's an otaku from her other boyfriends, and she'll do normal things, but with him she'll do like her otaku stuff because he already knows about it, but he thinks that means that she doesn't see him as a boyfriend. Like I feel like he thinks that means she just sees him as a friend, but really it's like you just want to tell him that if she's comfortable enough to be herself around you, that's better than her faking with other guys,
Yes, 100%. And what better way to be in like not only in a relationship but to strengthen your existing friendship than just being yourself.
Exactly.
Like there's nothing else besides that.
Because I did love that episode where they had that otaku's off limits and they had to pay every time.
Oh my god, I love that. It's such a good concept.
And I was thinking it's like, could you go, I mean, you could probably go a whole like day without talking about something related, but they were very strict in their rules. That's why I was, if it was just don't talk about manga, don't talk about anime, don't talk about games. I'm like, okay, can do that. But then there were like other things they were just randomly like
It was like little things that
little
really
things.
like related towards what they really liked. Like I remembered it was during the line Narumi was like, oh my god, look at those two guys, and he's like, penalty, cough off. She's like, but I wasn't even going to say, and he's like, you were thinking about it. It was so good. It was
I
so
just thought it
good.
was funny, but it really just, I just loved how they were progressing. Like at the end of that episode, when he finally like hug her and stuff, it was like awkward people for the win.
Oh my god, yes. I think there was so many awkward moments, but they were really cute awkward moments, like especially when Hirotaka went in for the kiss, his first kiss with the first person that he absolutely liked for so long. And Narumi, being his girlfriend, headbutted him afterwards. So like I just cracked myself up at that moment. I was like, I'm done. I'm done with this show. This is great. I'm gonna continue and just put that on repeat because that's just a great scene. Like you won't be able to go wrong with it.
Yeah. Yeah, there were so many like just learning how to get along together sort of moments, and he really shows how attentive he's been in the past, one because they were childhood friends and he really knows her. I mean, there was like that one episode, if I recall, where she was really upset about something and he was the only one who kind of picked up on it, and she was saying, I'm
Oh my
fine,
god.
and he said,
Yes.
no, don't you do your fake smile with me because I know what that means, you're not fine. But then there's the humor that comes where it just turns out her favorite manga character died. But you know what I mean? Before that, the moment was really like
Yes.
sweet and it was like, oh, you know her. But also, I know when your favorite character dies. I've been there. That
I know.
hits you
I've
in a
been there
weird spot.
too. It really does. Like I remembered there was this one time I like I think it was like one of my video games. They ended after like a long as like 15 years of it waiting and everything else. And I remember telling like my boyfriend that I'm like, oh my god, the series ends. I feel empty. He's like, huh? What do
You
you
just
mean?
don't
There's so many other
understand.
games. I'm like, no, you don't understand. And I was like sad for like a whole week.
Oh gosh, I mean, any TV series that ends, any book series that ends, because I used to
Oh my
read
god,
like long book
yes.
series, and so every year they're coming out with something, and you get to the end, it's like, oh my god, like
Oh my
what
god.
do I do now?
Yes, no, 100%. Like remember Fruits Basket Shy? Oh my god. I was gone. And I remember telling him exactly the same thing. I'm like, what do I do? My life is empty. Well, not like complete empty. I'm just lost. He's like, go watch something else. It's not hard. And then he's just like, oh, guess what year of the zodiac it is? It's not the rat. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I really, I know it was meant to be a funny thing countering that
I
sweet
felt
moment with
that.
him, but I was like, no, girl, be sad because I get it. I
I felt that real
understand.
hard.
But you don't want to tell anyone either because they're gonna be like, the hell's wrong with you? But I have had this like, I just need a moment to myself for a few days, please, because while I mourn the end of this character.
Yes, and
So
then
I
trying to find something to replace that or find something that's similar to it. Like, man, the amount of like countless of like mangas, animes, and also like games I tried to replace, it's so hard. Like, it is not recommended. Definitely not recommended.
oh, but yeah, no, I just love that they just kind of get each other because he gets it. Like he didn't make fun of her for it, sort of thing. He got it.
He got it, even though it was like a little teasing one.
Yeah.
But
I mean, like
I have to
he
ask.
doesn't get it in a way that like he's felt it, but he understands
Yeah.
that she feels, like he empathized with her.
Mm, No, that's very true. But I have to ask, we do get introduced to Hiro's younger brother,
Mm.
Nao, which is the only other person who knows about Hiro's first love interest, which is Narumi. But we do follow on with his kind of like high school, university slash college thing, which we both kind of know. But the one thing that I remembered in all the episodes after meeting his younger brother, they all really thought that Kyo, who is Nao's online friend and also physical friend at university, who's a very shy personality who just prefers to be away from everyone. So it's like literally his brother, but in university life. All of them think that his friend Kyo is a dude. So they all think that Nao is having like a BL kind of relationship or like starting this relationship. Even himself is thinking that it is like a boy love kind of relationship because he honestly thinks that Kyo is a dude, even though his friends are like, I'm pretty sure he doesn't know this, but Kyo is a girl.
Yeah, I love
Which
that
I
they
just,
all know
yeah,
except him.
they all know. They all know. And he's like fully accepted saying that, okay, this is a dude. It's fine. I can feel like these feelings towards him. It's fine. I just have to accept it and everything else. How, in your first like impression of those two characters, what did you initially think it would be?
Honestly, I didn't really have an opinion. I know you just went on a whole thing about him, but I really didn't have a really big opinion on either of them. I just thought it was going to be a sort of another relationship they would introduce, and how that worked out of him kind of, because the brother isn't really self-identifying as a gamer of any sort. But when they were playing games and he kind of joined in, actually we'll come back to that, but that was a fun scene too. And then he realized he also enjoys it, and so he's joined in and he's gotten help from this person that he recently met. So I kind of assumed that that's how that was going to go, where it was going to be friendship until he figures it out that she's a girl, and then reevaluates his feelings for that. So that was about it for me.
I mean, that's fair. Like, in all honesty, I'm like, okay, I think he's gonna develop it, and then he's gonna figure out that he's like, Kyo is actually a girl. But then, knowing the show, it's more focused on the main four characters anyway. They're like a side thing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really focus him a lot, which is like
the first time we meet him was really funny because Kabakura thought that Narumi was cheating on Hirotaka with this guy,
yes.
and he was like, he has to come here. He has to catch
and
them.
then like Hana-chan was like, okay, sure. Like, she was playing real cool, and then she was like full like messaging Hiro to come, and then Hiro's like, okay. Yeah.
And he was like, cool as a cucumber. And it's like, wait, he knows him?
Yeah,
like, yeah, that's his brother.
And then they're all like, oh, that makes sense. It was so good.
Yeah, I love how the brother was so like proud of his of Hiro asking out or being in a relationship with Narumi, because he knows how much he's liked her. Like in the end of that episode when they meet, and he was like in tears. It's sort of like, finally you guys did it. It's just like
he finally was able to like kill and like swoop in to get the girl. I think they also do mention it at the end of the whole entire series after the credits, They were like, oh yes, so who was everyone's first love? And he's like, oh, my brother got like a first date with his first love that he had interest in. He's like, shut up,
Shut up.
not say anything. And then Kabura's like, oh, I saw that, I don't know how to unsee it. It was great.
There is also another thing I do want to bring up is they're all identifying as otaku, but they all have different interests in that sort of realm. How do you feel about, so I was talking about that that online game. That's the kind of game I tend to play. If if anybody wants to know. But well, not all the time, I shouldn't say that. But they also have like Miss Hannah loves cosplaying, for example, and one of the things that's sort of a running theme is that Miss Hannah always wants Kabakura to dress up for her. And I just what do you think about sort of sharing your interests with somebody? Because here, so what I found, like the big contrast between the two relationships is, like I said, Miss Hannah always wants Kabakura to dress up or to get into her realm of what she likes, but he does no, he does not want to. Whereas you would think that Hirotaka would be like no, but then you find out, yeah, she dressed me up as a girl, or dressed me up as, or even when it was like that him and Kabakura sort of thing where they were fawning about it, like he was all down. He was like, yes, sure, fine, whatever, I'll do it. What do you think of how far would you go in terms of like sharing your hobbies if they actually want to do it? Because you don't ever want to kind of hang out with somebody who's absolutely hating it,
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, I love sharing my hobbies. That's like probably one thing that not only all my friends know, but also like my boyfriend knows. I love sharing my hobbies.
I'm asking you these questions also because out of the two of us, you are the one who has experienced these things and can answer these kinds of questions.
Oh my god. Oh, so much pressure. I'm kidding. But in all honesty, I enjoy like really sharing it a lot. Like I do know that there are some things that I haven't really shared a lot, but it does give like that other like perspective on it as to like what their interests are, and just really understanding how that kind of embedded inside like that person's life. So I do understand with Hina and Kabakura as to why there was like a lot of differences, is because it's like me trying to understand how to play computer games, like actual like PC games. Like I love my gamings, but I'm a console gamer. I'm not a PC gamer. So every time that I try to play something on like my boyfriend's account on the computer, literally it'll take me a good sort of like 10 hours to figure out what like the freaking WAS things. But I must ask this one special question. What is your as if that happened moment? Now before you do start, this series, they have a whole bunch of
they do, and I do not want to pick. Yes, I'm going to limit to one because there's so many snippet little scenes that I could go through, and then we're going to be here forever. And I do want to give out a shout out. This isn't my as if that happened moment, but this is just something that I love, the little gaming stuff that is throughout the show. Like they'd have these options and like game over, and there's just little that thematic thing. I just thought that was really fun. And speaking of that, was I don't know which one to choose. Okay, I think my as if that happened moment was when she first, in the very first episode, when she found out that her boss, Hannah, was a cosplay player that she had seen before. And this like light bulb went off in her head and goes, oh my God, one of us. And I just laughed because I was like, just finding that person sometimes where you're like, because in a new workplace, you're like, oh my God, I'm the weird person, blah blah blah. And it's like, I claim her. She's one of us now.
I claim her.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, there was plenty of other moments that I could talk about if we were talking about specific scenes. But what about you? What's your as if that happened moment? What's your one standout? Let's stick to one today. Or you could go as many as you like.
I do have one, which is surprising. Out of all of them, I do have one. And it was the time where I believe it was like the end, like at the very last episode, where they're all kind of sat down at the cafe and they're all like, who was your first 2D love? And it just cracked up when they were all like, when Kabura said Sakura from Card Captors, because I'm like, oh my God. He dropped it. He dropped Card Captors in this TV show that is like so old and it's so good. And I remember that everyone just found Sakura to be the most cutest, adorable, innocent person, and they were all like, really? It was so good.
Ooh,
a freaking tea on that.
Before we finish, I do have to add one negative. It's the ending. And I know it's like we can't help when shows are canceled and whatnot, but it was so weirdly unsatisfying. Like it just ended just like that. I don't know. It's just like, that's it. We didn't get any closure on anything.
Oh my God.
Very strange.
I honestly think that the ending for it was pretty good for some reason. Like I didn't mind it. I didn't hate it, but I don't think it was good, but it was like okay to end it at.
It felt like the middle of a season to me. Like it just ended randomly in the middle. There was nothing leading up to it. But I mean, I guess like you've said that there's not really a singular plot line, I guess, that's taking it through, but their relationship didn't hit a pinnacle or anything, just ended. But yeah,
I really do hope they have a sequel behind it, because it is such a I would say it would be an innocent TV show, but with anime, it's like who knows what's innocent anymore.
But it's been a while, so yeah. I don't think so.
Girl, don't worry. Things take time. The ones with the longest time period tends to just be the best. But yeah, other than that, I really do hope that you guys do enjoy these little like discussions, podcasts that we do of things that we find joy in our lives whilst we watch like these random like animes that I tried to tell Shai to watch and hope that she enjoys them. It literally that made my day that she said that this one
took me by surprise. I was really wary of this one. But I gotta hand it to you. I was smiling the whole time, and I bet you're gonna tell your sister now. It's gonna be very embarrassing, but
no, don't worry. I think she'll be cheering along with me.
I think it was the unexpectedness of it. I think I had too many other kind of expectations going into it based on what other animes you've introduced to me, and this one was not that. So I will give you this one. I'll give
the
this one to you.
the
let you have
blessings.
this.
With the blessings from Shy. We do really I really do hope that you guys do give this anime a shot. It is going to make you really reflect as to like, are you an otaku? Are you not an otaku? Would you be interested in dating an otaku? How would you show yourself to the public in like your new office and everything else? Which is like a very interesting topic, I think, in my personal opinion, because everyone has a different opinion with who they are as a like, social status in society. But other than that, please do stay safe wherever you are and spread the joy near and far. And we'll catch you all in the next episode. Until next time, y'all. Bye.